What's going on, guys? I'm Jiffy Nano, and today we are going to go over my updated level 65 Rushin Rambo Moze build. So, this build hasn't changed much, and they didn't change Fire in the Skag Den, but with the level 65 update, we were able to grab a few more skills to really finish off the build. So here are the skill trees. As you can see, we are still going down the blue tree for short fuse and then taking some from both green and red. So we want to focus on splash damage. We are abusing the damage output of Fire in the Skag Den, so we need as many of our weapons to deal splash damage as we can. Fire in the Skag Den and short fuse are currently getting Mayhem scaling, so the higher your Mayhem level, the more damage they deal. This makes our damage output insanely high even without splash damage, but splash damage weapons are the best choice overall. To add to this already extremely high damage output, we're also using the Minesweeper class mod. This gives you a chance to spawn a micro grenade when you get crits, but these micro grenades can also crit because of Pull the Holy Pin, which also has a chance to spawn micro grenades, resulting in a Minesweeper chain. These Minesweeper chains can deal some of the highest damage in the game. Also, Minesweeper can give you extra points in the Fire in the Skag Den, which, like I mentioned earlier, scales with Mayhem, so extra points makes it even more ridiculous. These Minesweeper grenades also heal you through Vampire, which is pretty nice while you're in the middle of a fight. So, for splash weapons, if you have the DLCs, the best, hands down, for this build is the Flipper and the Beacon. Both of these weapons deal splash damage, and the Flipper shoots multiple pellets so we can get a lot of Minesweeper procs off of it. If you don't have the DLCs, the Hellshock is still an amazing choice, along with the Kibsworth or the Westergun. In fact, I would probably go with the Kibsworth or the Westergun over the Hellshock because the Hellshock doesn't deal splash. Some other really good weapons I like to use are the Tig's Boom, the Spade, the Contained Blast, the Juliet's Dazzle, and even the Flacker right now can do some serious work. Now, if you want to use non-splash weapons, you can. Short fuse procs on all weapon damage, and short fuse does an insane amount of damage on its own, so you can get away with non-splash, but just use splash damage. It's so much easier. You get so much more damage output. If you don't use splash, all the normal weapons are good. The Chaos Sun, the Monarch, all that stuff, those will work, but splash is just going to be the best overall. For our artifact, I still think the best one is definitely the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Someone mentioned in the comments in the last video that you lose the damage really quickly, but if you're using the Flipper, you stack it up really fast with the multiple pellets, and the times that you need the damage from the Pearl is like, it's just that much better. If you don't have a Pearl, a Snowdrift Victory Rush will do fine. I guess you could also use a Grave because we do kind of have a deathless system going on, but at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot of splash-based artifacts you can use. As far as shields go, you can pretty much use whatever you want. I like to use Old Gods because they give you more damage. Unfortunately, the trick with the Transformer and the Shock Minesweeper grenades does not work anymore because Fire in the Skag Den will kill you through pretty much any shield that you have. So just be careful about how close you are to enemies when you shoot them, and hopefully you won't get hit by your own grenades. If you do, it's pretty easy to get back up since we're doing a ridiculous amount of damage, so just, shoot the nearest enemy and you should be able to get yourself back up pretty easily. Now, I forgot to do Mayhem modifiers last video. Normally, I don't really think about them, but if I were to make suggestions, I like to avoid the ones that make enemies immune to elemental damage, and honestly, I think Post-Mortem is the best hard mode modifier in general, and especially for this build. With the massive amount of splash damage we're dealing, the Death Skulls barely get to spawn and usually get killed before they can actually appear, and if they do spawn, they're still really easy to kill. More Than OK Boomer is a good easy mod, but I prefer Speed Demon because I like the move speed. At the end of the day, it's all player preference, but I for sure think that Post-Mortem is the easiest, very hard modifier to deal with, especially with this much splash damage, and I hate it when my enemies are immune. So, if you are on PC, you can grab the save from my Discord if you want to try the build out or just want the items from the save file. If you're on console, hopefully this build is easy enough to get going since there's no way right now to transfer saves from PC to console. If you found this video informative, a like rating is always appreciated, and consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you see my future uploads. Also, almost all of my builds are theory crafted and tested on my live stream, so if you want to take part in making some of these builds, check it out on Twitch, link in the description, and if you want to support me and the content I make, you can check out my Patreon. We have lots of cool stuff over there, like exclusive sneak peeks to new videos, behind the scenes stuff, and more. Link to that is also in the description. And if you enjoyed this build, consider checking out my other builds in the playlist on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.